and welcome to another episode which deals with media choices in advertising. As discussed earlier, media choices depend upon a number of factors, including objectives, content and timing of ad copies and ad programs. In this episode, we shall be covering the following topics. 1. Media scene in India. 2. Problems of reaching rural audience and markets. 3. Exhibitions and Mela. 4. Press conference. I am Amrita Ghosh Kumar and our expert for today's program is Miss Adiba Bari, a management professional with specialization in marketing and international business. So let us begin today's session with our first topic, that is media scene in India. Media of India consists of several different types of communication media, like the television, radio, cinema, newspapers, magazines, and internet-based websites. Most of the media is controlled by large for-profit organizations who reap revenue from advertising, subscriptions, and sale of copyrighted material. India also has a strong music and film industry. India has more than 70,000 newspapers and over 690 satellite channels, out of which more than 80 are news channels. India also is the biggest newspaper market in the world with over 100 million copies sold each day. Entrepreneurs who own brands are seeking new domains by going for outdoor media advertising, a form of advertising where the image building takes place outside the confines of the four walls. There are plenty of options to accomplish the same. Advertising on metros, billboards, at airports and at shopping malls allow brand creators a lot of breathing space. These promotional avenues work just as well for international brands as they do for local ones. There has been a spike in outdoor advertisements spurred largely by a combination of three factors. It is the enhanced spending capacity of consumers, the mushrooming nature of the market, and the increased number of brand names. The current scenario is that there has been an increase in fragmentation of the audience or consumers and the media. Hence, the advertising and marketing spend has increased vastly. The amount of competition and the consumer's expectations lifestyle has changed drastically. Another much observed feature about advertising media practices in India is the implementation of rich tools and techniques to promote brands. Contemporary campaigns are also enriched by the introduction of digitalized media. Conventional advertising practices such as ordinary billboard advertising campaigns, wall paintings or poster ads are replaced by digitalized billboards and hoardings, providing rich interactivity between customers and brands. Nowadays, the usage of social media in India is increasing at a mind-boggling rate. The social media sites are popularly used in India are Facebook, LinkedIn, Orkut, YouTube, Blogger.com and Twitter amongst others. The telecom, travel, consumer product and financial services use the social media in India more effectively compared to other industries. Advertisers can keep interacting with target customers relentlessly through the various advertising channels, be it as cinema theatres, shopping malls, eating outlets, entertainment houses and highways or simply at the community gate. Outdoor advertising practices ensure that customers are continuously encouraged to try out their products by providing repeated and seamless brand messages. Demand at a rural level drives many sectors in an Indian economy that is largely agro-based. This is because the urban market is already approaching saturation. This is causing the focus to shift towards development of the rural sectors. A massive 70% of the Indian population still dwells in village and therefore becomes a huge cynosure for the markets and the industries. The disposable income and the state of awareness only add to this influence. There is a wide gap between the number of towns and villages, 5,161 and 6,38,365 respectively. This is a stark indicator of where the heart of the country is. The realization is dawning slowly upon companies as well that in order to be true leaders of the market, the potential at the rural level has to be tapped. There are some problems plaguing the rural areas though. The state of awareness, in spite of having enough money, is quite low in some rural areas, bringing down the consumerism levels too. There are other areas where education, economic empowerment and health are proving to be difficult problems to solve. There are quite a few critical challenges that need to be tackled by companies when dealing with the rural markets. Understanding the nature of the rural consumer, transporting products to remote areas and locations, transporting service technicians and communicating with audiences that are heterogeneous by nature are some of the major issues. Regretfully though, much money has not been invested by companies on research. Companies have not given much time or effort either to try and comprehend the nature of rural consumers along with their want, values and wishes. Also, most advertising targets the urban audience and doesn't cater to rural areas at all. There is not much consideration for the sensitivities of the rural folks when the same advertisements are extended for rural areas. This has increased the skepticism that the rural population has for urban planners as well as advertisers. Here are some of the reasons why it is not easy for marketers to make a foray into the rural markets, even though it remains a major attraction for them. Low literacy. The chances for spreading education awareness in the rural areas is extremely low. Compared to a national average of 52%, it is just 36% in the rural areas. Seasonal demand. Agriculture is the most important income source in villages. As a result, the demand for other goods depends largely on the produce. Since agriculture depends on the monsoons, the buying capacity or overall consumerism on rural areas varies quite a bit. Transportation. Rail transport infrastructure is not available for a lot of rural areas. Moreover, rains make a lot of roads unserviceable in the villages, isolating interior villages. Distribution. The distribution costs go up with the introduction of a lot of intermediate tiers. For effective distribution, the system needs village-level shopkeepers, wholesalers and preferred dealers, district-level distributors and stockists and state-level consignment distribution centers. Company-owned depots might also be needed. Communication problems. Rural areas don't enjoy the same connectivity with telephone, telegram or fax as urban areas do. The problem is worsened by the heterogeneous composition of rural consumers. 16 scheduled languages and 114 vernaculars throw some light on that problem. Traditional life. Customs still largely govern the way life is led in the rural areas. This makes adaptability a touch difficult. The clothing style, for example, in the rural areas is much different from that of urban areas, irrespective of whether people have money or not. Buying decisions. The decisions taken by rural consumers with respect to buying are slightly delayed and slower. This is because of the caution exercised by them. Media for promotions. The impact of television and cinema has been huge. Moreover, rural areas have been exposed to radio as well, considering that it is a low-cost medium. Formal media, though, has not really made a strong foothold in rural areas, due to which companies have to plan other activities for marketing in rural areas, like covering and participation in local trade fairs and carnivals. Unlike urban markets, rural markets are difficult to predict and possess special characteristics. The featured population is predominantly illiterate, have low income characterized by irregular income, lack of monthly income and flow of income fluctuating with the monsoon winds. Rural markets face the critical issues of distribution, understanding the rural consumer, communication and poor infrastructure. The marketer has to strengthen the distribution and pricing strategies. The rural consumer expects value for money and owing to has an unsteady and meager status of weekly income. Media reach is a strong reason for the penetration of goods like cosmetics, mobile phones and so on, which are only used by the urban people. Increasing awareness and knowledge on different products and brands accelerate the demand. The rural audience are, however, critical of glamorous ads on television and depend on the opinion leaders who introduce the product by using it and recommending it. Opinion leaders play a key role in popularizing products and influence in the rural market. Nowadays, educated youth of the rural also influence the rural consumers. Rural consumers are influenced by the lifestyle they watch on television sets. Their less exposure to outside world makes them innocent and fascinated to novelties. The reach of mass television media, especially television, has influenced the buying behavior greatly. If the Indian advertising industry is to reach out to rural India in an effective and efficient manner, it has to be grounded firmly in rural perceptions, values and traditions. It has to immerse itself in local colors, customs and modes of communication in order to make itself relevant to the needs and desires of the rural society. It has to gain the trust of the masses by undercutting its own excessive dependency on Western style of advertising. There is a need to reach out to rural consumers and relate to them at an appropriate level. Innovative media can be used to reach the rural customers. Radio and television are the conventional media that are able to reach the rural audience effectively. But a horse cart, bullock cart and wall writing are the other media which can carry the message effectively to the rural customers. Advertising and promotional activities in local melas or fairs are also an important way of connecting with the rural audience. Mela is a Sanskrit word, means gathering or to meet or a fair. It is used in the Indian subcontinent for all sizes of gatherings and can be religious, commercial, cultural or sports related. In rural traditional melas or village fairs were and in some cases still are of great importance. In recent times, mela also popularly referred to shows and exhibitions. It can be theme-based, promoting a particular culture, art or skill. Generally, in melas, people can find eateries, entertainment activities, shops and games. An exhibition, in the most general sense, is an organized presentation and display of a selection of items. In practice, exhibitions usually occur within museums, galleries and exhibition halls. Trade fairs and exhibition grounds are often crucial places to launch new products or indulge in mass marketing for various companies and corporates. Most of these large-scale trade fairs are based on a certain industry and therefore they attract targeted customers and exhibitors. Hence, trade exhibitions are also called B2B events in which the exhibitors leverage their product and expertise to expand their client base and strengthen business with existing clients, to introduce new services and products, and also to increase their sales volume. Exhibitors at trade carnivals have found many pros in investing on prime booth space because of quite a few reasons. First, these trade fairs offer a great chance to portray one's brand or launch it in the markets. This is because audience awareness and support blended with coverage by media gives the launch an extra mileage. Regular booth at trade fairs is likely to garner some eyeballs while not overrunning the budget. Secondly, a trade fair focuses on targeted audience, which is actually interested in the product. In other words, the regular booth will attract hundreds or even thousands of prospective clients or customers. This gives you an opportunity to enhance the brand image and reach out to a larger public. Trade fairs offer a nice avenue to enhance target audience awareness about your brand and product. This will also help in strengthening the existing loyal customers. Trade fairs also offer the unique chance for companies to interact with their customers and target audience and collect valuable feedback, sometimes even on a one-on-one basis. This face-to-face conversation is a lot more useful than email or phone conversations. A personal element is also introduced in such a case, allowing companies to get first-hand information to improve the relationship with consumers. The personal interactions also bring sales leads for companies, allowing them to target the right audience furthermore. Fair actually means a gathering of people which takes place to facilitate bartering of goods and is conducted at frequent intervals. This is where the present-day definition gets its identity. The regular gathering, often combined with entertainment shows at a well-known place or a grand venue, has become a custom of sorts. Expositions and exhibitions have often been associated with the goods and products displayed. There are 4 primary ways in which exhibitions are different from fairs. Exhibitions are one-time events in most cases. There is no recurrence of exhibitions and there is rarely a cycle involved. Fairs have shorter time duration than exhibitions. In fact, some exhibitions are known to run for as long as a year. The second difference is that these exhibitions are usually organized in permanent facilities which have specifically been designed for them. The tradition to build a facility for the purpose of an exhibition has been around since the beginning of the 18th century. This is where the convention center industry has come into the picture. The third difference is that fairs are not as neatly organized as exhibitions. The grounds for fairs have been taken control of by politicians and religious leaders. Exhibitions, though, are largely corporate-driven events for the express purpose of trade. Unlike in the case of fairs, exhibitions are clear-cut in terms of purpose. Lastly, exhibitions are different from fairs in the manner in which business transactions are conducted. At fairs, goods are purchased and sold. However, the transactions at exhibitions are of a different nature since the displayed goods are only samples and no actual selling takes place. Instead, future sales are discussed and sometimes orders taken. These are business-to-business events where industry-specific companies can portray their latest services and products, while also demonstrating some of them. Public can also witness these shows, which also attract representatives of a company. There will be media presence too. The idea of trade shows was to help companies display their ware and fulfill their advertising need. However, with time, this perception has changed. Trade shows are more important events where rights, contracts, and orders are signed for different products and services. However, this might not always be the case, as there could be too many complications. Sometimes analysis and assessment of products and services will be needed, which prevents agreements from being signed on site. Sales leads, though, can always be found at exhibitions to be pursued later. These are events where the general public is allowed entry. Retail outlets, service companies and manufacturers are amongst those who join these exhibitions. In these shows, the end users directly purchase the goods from the exhibitors. This is an event that is particularly useful for certain industries and is held for a fixed duration of about 10 days. Home shows, sportsman shows, technology shows and car shows are all examples of these. The functions of these shows is to get to direct selling. Buyers and sellers come together under one roof. Consumers get a lot of choices along with education, expert advice and some entertainment as well. Sellers, on the other hand, gain by getting direct sales while also getting publicity for their products. Companies that are looking out for research, product testing, demo and PR also participate in these shows. Virtual fairs have become popular on the back of the internet reach. The time constraints, problems with space and the annoying travel involved with trade shows are all disadvantages that are eliminated by these fairs. Nevertheless, virtual fairs cannot totally replace traditional fairs, which retain their own charm and importance. This is because face-to-face interaction is possible only in the traditional way. CRM or customer relationship management, along with enhancing loyalty towards brand image, continues to be the biggest benefits offered by traditional fairs. These exhibitions and trade fairs are a lot more than marketing events. In fact, they offer the marketplace at your fingertips, acting as a treasure trove of knowledge and data about consumers. A centralized site helps in corporate positioning for companies. Moreover, it is a great way of acquiring feedback from customers in real time. These are also helpful in assessing competition and researching the market, potential and expectations. Moreover, this is a good way of staying on top of new technologies available in the market. A news conference or press conference is a media event in which newsmakers invite journalists to hear them speak and most often ask questions. A press conference is a staged public relations event in which an organization or individual presents information to members of the mass media. Press conferences are typically used for political campaigns, emergencies and promotional purposes, such as the launch of a new product. Presidents have been using press conferences to alert the country to their stance on issues or to calm public fears. Political activists hold press conferences to state opinion on proposed legislation and candidates use them to communicate their stance on important issues. Emergency press conferences are held in response to a crisis or disaster. Emergency press conferences serve a dual role as both public service and public relations, since those responsible for the crisis can use the press conference to regain public trust. Promotional press conferences are among the most common. Public relations professionals use press conferences to make important announcements to gain coverage in newspapers, magazines, blogs, and on TV news broadcasts. Reasons to hold a press conference include introducing a new product, revealing a new scientific breakthrough, unveiling a new advertising campaign, announcing a charity event with a featured celebrity, acquiring a new player on a sports team, or releasing company financial statements. Promotional press conferences offer several advantages, such as the ability to reach all media outlets at the same time while controlling the message. A press conference location is very important for attracting journalists and serving their professional needs. On-location press conferences can add a dramatic visual backdrop for an announcement. But some locations make it difficult to meet the technical and logistical requirements of the media. Some of these are having enough parking for important people and media, including room for large TV production trucks, availability of a stage podium and audiovisual aids to present information, adequate seating for journalists and guests, enough electrical outlets to plug in computers, cameras and audiovisual equipment, ample room for TV cameras to set up their shots, perhaps on a raised platform at the back, a multi-box that allows media to receive direct audio feeds from one microphone. To meet all these requirements, it is sometimes easier to hold press conferences in dedicated conference rooms, either at an organization's headquarters, a hotel, or in a local press club. A press conference can build excitement or anticipation about an event. However, press conferences can also waste time and money if they are poorly organized and executed. Let us now quickly summarize all that we have learned today. First, we discussed about the media practices and trends in India. Media in India consists of several different types of Indian communications media. Television, radio, cinema, newspapers, magazines, and internet websites are a few of these. A noticeable feature about the current advertising media practices in India is the implementation of rich tools and techniques to promote brands. The next topic in today's discussion dealt with the challenges in reaching rural markets, wherein we discussed the importance and features of rural markets in India. Also, we discussed various reasons which make entering the rural market difficult. The next topic was fairs and exhibitions. Fairs and exhibitions, a growing marketing medium, provide a forum for companies to display and sell their products to a specialized audience. They are cost-effective for exhibiting companies and provide economic benefits for the hosting city. There are several key players in the trade show industry, all of whom must communicate and work together to make shows run smoothly and successfully. The last topic was about press conferences, which are defined as a media event in which newsmakers invite journalists to hear them speak and most often ask questions. That is all for today. Hope you have understood the various topics discussed today. We'll see you again with another topic of advertising media choices. Till then, take care and goodbye.